Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host, and welcome to Artists of Color. And today we are going to have a great conversation with an amazing young lady. I kind of met her a couple of months back, and she is like, I can't say phenomenal enough, but I'm going to give you a little bit of information on her. Joi Harper is a composer, vocalist, and teaching artist based in Boston, Massachusetts. Her focus is on exploring our world and commenting on our unique experiences. As a musician with such a diverse musical background, she often includes a multitude of styles and genres within her own work, prioritizing the sounds she heard growing up and exploring the vast world of music we are all a part of. And I want to introduce my guest, Joi Harper. Hi, Joi.
Hello.
How are you? Yes, Joi.
I'm great.
How are you?
I am fantastic.
Good. I know. It's been one of those days. What can I tell you? But I am so glad you arrived, and I'm glad you're here with me.
You too.
And I guess I want to start the conversation on you as getting started. I don't know if I want to say as a musician or as a teacher or learning the different forms of music that you did starting as a child. That's where we'll start.
Okay. Yeah. I would say I could start with the first thing that I was a musician first, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So I grew up maybe, very young, like 7 or 8, kind of singing in church growing up. And I was one of those people that did a lot of different instruments during that time. So I kind of grew up, singing first, playing piano later. I wanted to take on more instruments, so I took on the clarinet and the violin later in life. And I've kind of settled now. I've settled into it.
So now that you've settled, what is your passion instrument?
Yes, voice is my passion instrument for sure.
Oh.
It's such a fun, it's my favorite, obviously, but also favorite to hear as well.
Well, see, but you're also a composer.
Exactly.
And that's how I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And do you sing a lot?
I sing a lot, but now, singing and composing, they are kind of...
They mesh.
One and the same.
Yes.
That's how I write, I write through my voice.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of use my voice, and you hear my voice in the pieces, in these different instruments that is coming from me singing it first, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's like, I guess, you are a multitude of all those things put together. What made you want to become, I don't know if I want to say a musician first or a vocalist. Let's say what made you want to become both?
I think music was just all around me. Yeah. I was in a very, neither of my parents are musicians.
Really?
Correct.
Because when I read your bio, I actually thought the whole family was musicians.
But they love music.
Oh, see, then there you go. That's it.
So I was always around music. That wasn't lost from me.
Right.
And actually, my mother, she was like my first teacher. She, especially when it came to voice, and she is a really creative person herself. And so I was surrounded by that kind of creativity and energy.
Yes.
That kind of fostered into my own as I grew up.
As you grew up, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Even though you've done, like each of the instruments that I've read about in your bio about as to what you like to play, but as you said, your voice is your passion, so everything comes from that. How do you compose your pieces? I mean, I know it's from your voice, and I understand that, but what drives you? What brings that forth?
Well, I think voice is kind of how you get the sounds and the melodies and all of that comes out.
Right.
But I think for when it comes to the actual composing process,
Yes.
you know, similar to kind of my bio, I am focused on exploring concepts, and I find it very easy once I am grounded in a concept to create music surrounding that. So creating words and things that mean whatever this piece is, right? That gives me the foundation to explore and put to music those ideas.
Oh.
And put them to, you know, sing them into existence, but put them into and write them down to be played by different people.
Okay. Now, since you've said all that, when I first met you, it was at the church in Jamaica Plain.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out that you had composed. Was it all of the music for that performance?
I had composed the kind of centerpiece of that performance, which was the piece with the strings students as well as Nina.
Yes.
Yes, Nina.
She is amazing.
She's an incredible vocalist.
Oh, she is. She really is.
And then of course piano as well, and the piece, you know, centered around poetry created and inspired by Langston Hughes.
Yes.
Which was written by the kids.
But the kids, that's right, they did, because at the beginning, when, I think it was I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he came out and
David, yeah.
He came out and gave us a little bio as to what the performance was going to be about. How did you compose? Did you compose the music that went around? How did you? I mean, in other words, did you delve yourself into Langston Hughes, who happens to be one of my favorite poets? Did you delve yourself into his work?
I think for me, Langston Hughes is one of those people, also another poet that my mom introduced me to growing up as well, right? So very familiar with Langston Hughes's work. I think in kind of hearing the voices and hearing, kind of learning what the children, what the students were exposed to.
Okay.
They were exposed to musical settings of Langston Hughes's work. And so I kind of studied what they had already been exposed to.
Yes.
And then, of course, I really took care to pick and select poems these poems that stood out to me.
Okay.
As all of the poems that I set, they had their own messages.
Yes.
And they connected, actually, in my ear and my heart, they connected to each other.
Okay.
And they fed off of each other.
Off of each other.
And I thought the messages that they were super unafraid to communicate.
Yes.
I was like, I have to, whatever I do, I have to help this message come through. Okay. I don't want to do anything that's going to bury their message there.
No, you want the message to come out.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, and I mean, all three of those poems were
absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I happen to have a hard copy, about this thick, of all of Langston Hughes's works. I have one, and when my son, who also loves Langston Hughes, when he graduated from high school, I gave him a copy as a gift. Yeah.
It's incredible.
How, we're gonna go to the middle here for a minute. How did you get into teaching?
Teaching. Teaching is one of those things, I think it's funny. I always grew up saying I did not have the patience to be a teacher.
Okay, I hear you there.
I think I was told that as well, that, you know, to be a teacher, you have to have this patience to kind of sit and be, you know, with students.
And be able to direct them.
Right. And I was told, you know, I think I was told more so that I didn't have it. Funny enough, one of the things I hear all the time is that I have a lot of patience when it comes to teaching, which is opposite. But I started teaching music when I was in my undergrad school.
Really?
And I started teaching voice, I started teaching piano, and I found it so fulfilling. Teaching is one of those things that, especially when you're teaching something like music, but in any subject, is one of those things that you can use what you're teaching to teach valuable life skills.
I understand that. I exactly know where you're coming from.
Yeah. And it's an amazing thing to sit with someone and see someone. You can sit with someone for 10 weeks. You can sit with someone for
10 minutes.
Exactly. And you can see a change.
Yeah, you can.
Which is, and adding music in that, and making sure that, I can be a guider to that person of whatever they want to explore in the world of music is one of my favorite things.
Oh, that is great. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. You talked about, I'm going to talk to you about, you said guiding and exploring. Your music, when you explore the music that either the music that you compose or what you hear, what comes through? What are you looking for when you're exploring?
Specifically with just in a lesson setting?
No, within a lesson setting, or within you composing a piece, or you listening to a piece for the first time. What are you exploring for? What are you looking for?
I think it's so different depending on what it is. Sometimes you are looking for something that stands out.
Okay.
Something that's different than the rest of, like, if you're listening to something different than the rest of what you're hearing.
Yes.
That carries some innate meaning into it, is kind of like why is this different? Why was this the same? Why did this change? What purpose did that have to the creation? Same with composing, exploring the own ideas in my head, right? Of this idea has to carry this meaning, whatever meaning it is.
I hear you.
And when you're exploring, I have 10 ideas on a paper, and I'm looking for the one that feels right and connects with that principle, that concept, that original concept that was there. Okay. And I think it's a fun process.
I'll bet. I really bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask the great question. How did you connect with Castles of Our Skins?
I feel like it wasn't too long ago, but it was a couple years ago, actually.
Really? Okay.
That I connected with Ashley.
Love it.
I am not from Boston.
You're not?
Not from Boston originally. No.
Where are you from?
I am from Virginia.
You're from Virginia.
Yeah.
You could have. I thought you were Bostonian, born and bred.
Not born and bred. I've been up here. I came up here originally to study.
Okay.
And so I found, and I actually came up here during the pandemic.
Ooh.
Beginning of the pandemic.
Ooh.
Which was.
And you got stuck here. You got stuck in a room, in an apartment, couldn't go anywhere. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So where did you, I know about all the institutions of music that you've studied through, but where were you going when the pandemic started?
Yeah, so I was going to Longy
Oh, you were at Longy then? Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and of course, hybrid,
yes.
remote learning, that was the whole thing. But going to that once, a composer knew, who from another institution in which I had applied, knew that I was going to Longy, found out somehow, and told me,
Boston's little.
You're in Boston.
You're in Boston.
You need to check out Castle of Our Skins.
Oh, there you go.
And
There you go.
That kind of started a really cool journey that I've had with them, and I've had especially with Ashley, and just learning more about the organization. Ashley has been a great mentor and kind of guiding me into my journey of, you know, what does it mean to be a Black composer, a Black musician?
And a female Black composer and musician.
Right.
You know? So what do you think it means?
I think now I think it means to be connected to, you know, an incredible group of people who've done many wonderful and different things. You have centuries of legacy of Black musicians and Black composers, and many that I didn't know about.
Oh,
right?
Don't feel bad, because every time I talk to Ashley and I'm learning about these new composers and the new music, I tell her, I said, you know, if it wasn't for you all, I would not know. Yeah. Because I had no idea.
And it's hard to be disconnected from that, because
and it's part of your heritage,
right?
You know, and your history, and you're disconnected from it.
Mm-hmm. And it's isolating. It's super isolating when you are trying to create, and you feel like you were the only one doing it.
Right. But then you find out that there were
so many,
hundreds before you.
Right.
You know? So you're feeling like I'm getting ready to stand on their shoulders, to keep moving.
Yes.
To go forward.
Exactly. Exactly.
I also read a piece where you talked about music and social justice. Explain how you take music and move it into social justice. I realize we've all had music that has been created for social justice, for activisms from when I was a child. But explain how you connect it.
So this is one of those things that has been new for me, actually, to explore.
Oh, okay.
Or to explore directly, right?
Yes.
A lot of my work when it comes to social justice is thinking about the heritage that we were just talking about, right?
Yes.
The heritage that I didn't know.
Okay.
And trying to connect that and use music as a way to explain that to an audience of people, you know, of that this is a thing that happened.
Right.
These are, like, you know, especially when it comes to Blackness.
Yes.
And explaining, experiencing Blackness, it is so important that people, I mean, even just hearing you say the word Black
and just saying, and it brings it to me, which is why I do this, because it brings a feeling of you have to explore, you have to work on the history, you have to be able to bring that forth to those that don't know, especially the young ones that don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
No, yeah. I mean, it's super important.
It is very. We just lost an ancestor. I'm sure you heard about Mel King. Well, he was an adopted uncle. He and my mother and another friend of my mom's, they were all activists together back in the 70s, going around the South End trying to help to stop the gentrification and folks coming in that did not look like us, coming in from the suburbs and buying up South End property from Black folks, okay, who had built those homes, raised their children, sent them to school, but they were alone then. And, you know, I remember my mom going out with Uncle Mel and their friend, Miss Myra McAdoo. They went out in rain, sleet, and snow, walking up and down the streets and the side streets of the South End, talking to folks to help them figure out ways of keeping them from not selling their homes, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm an outsider when I grew up down there. And I feel like I'm an outsider when I go down there to see different productions, you know. But it's the music, you know, it's who we are, and it's what we have to do. We are going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and have lots of fun.
Awesome.
That's you.
Hi everyone, my name is Joi. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I normally do is I will talk about music, or I will perform covers, or I will just talk about any kind of experiences I've had around music. But today I'm doing something a little bit different, and I want to share with you some of my original works. Today I want to share one that I premiered last year called Don't Open Your Eyes. This work was inspired by the hit movie Bird Box. In fact, I have always really loved horror films, thrillers, anything that's supposed to be kind of scary. That's always been something that I really enjoyed watching. And so when I saw Bird Box, it really inspired me to create music in a different way. This piece, when it's performed live, what I would say to you as an audience member is to go ahead and close your eyes. So, you know, just give into it. Because what happens in a live performance is that in the audience, there are actually people and musicians planted who create sounds around you. And it is kind of a full room experience. But, you know, as we're all in quarantine, as we're all kind of isolated from each other, I wanted to share this in a format that is going to be able to recreate this experience for you at home. It's right in time for the spooky season, so I hope this sets the mood for you. I really love it for this purpose. And if you want to check out any of my other works, feel free to go to my website, joiharper.com, or my SoundCloud. I'm gonna link both of those down below. But yeah, I hope you enjoy and get ready to be spooked.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Artists of Color. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host, and my phenomenal guest is Joi Harper. And I am so glad. We've been having a great conversation.
Yes.
I want to know about the Bird Box. Let's talk about that. What made you do that? And how did you not know there was going to be a pandemic?
You know, Bird Box was, you know, so the movie Bird Box.
I'd never heard of it.
It's a psychological thriller horror film.
I've never heard of it.
I think it came out sometime, maybe this was 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And the concept of the movie is that there are these creatures that if you look at them, that's it, right? You can't look.
Oh, don't look. I'm not looking. Okay, I'm good. I'm not looking.
Hence why the piece is called Don't Open Your Eyes.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
And I loved what I loved about the movie, and what I love horror films. I love these. Yes, I love horror movies. I love the on edge feeling. It's actually quite musical. We can go back there. It's that feeling of
Yeah, wait. We're going back there. See what you did?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Bird Box it really inspired me to create more of a soundscape.
Oh, really?
That
Don't open your eyes.
and it's such a different experience live and versus the recording, because when you're live, actually there are people walking through the audience around you.
Oh.
Kind of creating kind of this you don't like the sensation of not knowing
What's going to happen next?
going to happen.
Who's going? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I mean, Yeah, it's quite eerie. It's funny. It's crazy at the timing that.
Yeah, I mean, you did not know that there was going to be a pandemic. And you created this.
Yeah.
And along came the pandemic.
Yeah.
And you probably said during that time, I wish I had done that. Oh my gosh. The music of it. How did you get so, it's so eerie. How did you compose eerie music?
I had a great time kind of studying actually the piano a little bit. Okay. Studying.
Yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah. What's cool is that you have 3 pianists on one piano.
Oh.
Yeah. So you have.
That's interesting.
Right. You have 2 on the keyboard, and then you have 1 on the inside of the piano.
On the inside. Okay.
They're kind of playing on the inside of the piano. Yeah.
What?
You can do a lot of really cool things on the inside of a piano.
I did not know that. See, she's a pianist. What do you want? I didn't know you could do cool things on the inside of the piano.
And there is so many of those echoey and loud and vibrant sounds or quick sounds that can be done. Having 3 pianists allowed me to explore.
Exploration again.
Yeah, explore what a piano could do and explore different sounds that I could make. I definitely was going for eerie.
I could hear and I could see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you also have, in this piece, there's also, you have different people who have paper, for instance, and they are ripping paper and they are balling it up, knocking in different corners of a room. There's lots of
different types of vibrations.
Yes.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah. It's definitely a fun piece to work on.
You can tell she likes scary movies. There's definitely no doubt. Oh my goodness. What do you want to see in your work? What do you want to see going forward for as not only as a musician, but as a vocalist, as a teacher, putting them all, maybe even putting them all together? What do you want to see going forward?
I mean, the journey I am on right now is all about culture.
I love that.
Community.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Tradition.
Thank you.
All of those things. And what's cool about being in a city like Boston and connected to some really amazing people is that I learned so much about all of that happening. I learned so much about whether it's the history of Boston, history of people, history of my heritage.
Yes.
I'm connected with people who give that to me on the daily.
Okay.
And so I'm on a journey to continue exploring that, and that is like a deep wish of mine is to have all of my music and all of my artistry, whether it's writing, whether it's singing, whether it's teaching, to be connected to that deep sense of community and culture, because I think it's super important. And I know I mean, you talk about the pandemic, like that was a very clearly hard to connect with people.
Yes.
It was
like
almost impossible.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And when you talk about it, and we're talking about it here, it's like when they said you couldn't go out, I said, what? Because I'm an out person. I like being out.
Yeah.
And when I found out that I couldn't go out, or you know, because they hadn't figured out what to do with the pandemic yet. You know, and thousands of people were leaving us.
And I think, you know, at that time, I mean, there's so many things that went through my head. I know there's so many things that went through so many different people's heads about what does this mean for the future? What does this mean for us? you know, and what you see as, you know, we have a better capacity to meet and to group now with people, is you saw that like urge
Urgency.
and longing
Yes.
to get back with people and
Communicate.
communicate. Yeah.
Communicate.
And so it's,
I remember when I wasn't in here. You know?
Yeah.
I would have to go and watch, and that's why I liked the program that Ashley and Anthony put together online, you know, that was great, where I think it was like 8 weeks. I have every single one of them. 8 weeks, they went around the world talking to different artists. And do you realize most of those artists, I think all of them, were Black females? You know, it was like, wow.
yeah.
And never knowing that there were female Black artists in other countries, and knowing and learning what they had gone through, you know, because they were Black and they were in countries that weren't accepting of Black folk. So it was like, wow. It was called the Founders Chat. And I watched that for 8 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy to be able to explore that, right?
Yes.
And the more you learn about, I love learning about what people have going on in different places. Right? Because that, like, we are in one place.
Right, and there's a vast world out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So, wow. So, I want to continue that discussion. What, teaching-wise, what do you want to do teaching-wise?
Yes. So my teaching is now kind of focused, I'm really focusing on teaching composition.
Oh, can I join your class?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to join your class.
Composition is one of those things that, though I started songwriting at a really young age, I actually didn't know that a career could be possible in it until I was like, I don't know, like 17.
Really? What was your first composition?
Oh, my first, like, I don't know.
I got her.
My first composition. I definitely remember an early arrangement.
Oh, okay. Were you in high school?
When I was in high school.
You were in high school.
And that's back when I used to play violin.
Ooh.
And I remember learning, there's what is the group called? The Two Cellos. There's a group that would do these pop arrangements of, and on two cellos of different songs, right? And so for my group in my high school, I helped arrange a version of Smooth Criminal.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh, dear. What did your parents say?
That was, yeah, it was very interesting. But I think that was one of the first times I had applied it to an instrument, or writing to an instrument that wasn't my voice.
Right.
You know? And to a group of people.
How did you, into a group of people. So how did you put that together? I mean, what were your thoughts behind doing that?
Yeah, back then I actually didn't. Today I'm pen and paper. You know.
There you go. I love pen and paper.
You know, that's how I write things, and that's great. Back then I didn't even know how to do that.
Oh.
And so
we were putting it on, what do you call it? Little.
Just recordings, and,
yes.
And lots of conversation.
Lots of conversation.
To make that go together. You know, it wasn't just me. We worked together as a group to kind of put that together.
Okay.
But I mean, it's definitely easier now. For I you know, kind of envy people who can do something unwritten and make it work very quickly.
Yes.
You know, it takes a lot of work.
That has to be a lot. Mentally, You know, mentally can be a lot of work.
And all the musicians in the room have to be on the same page.
Okay.
Right? So people who do that are amazingly talented.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm glad pen and paper now. I'm glad
I like
for that.
I like pen and paper too. I do. Matter of fact, I like pen and paper, but I learned something new. When I go to programs, I write articles on all the events that I cover. I take my pictures. Sometimes I audio tape the whole session. But what I've learned because I have a Mac computer, just got it back in 2017. And I learned recently that there was a vocal record button on the computer. I had no idea. So I said, you mean I don't have to write this anymore? I can just talk it out.
Yeah.
See, you got a computer? Yeah, find the record button on your computer.
I need to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, there you go. Find the record button on the computer. It might help you out a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I know you play the violin, the flute, correct?
I don't play the flute. I played the clarinet growing up. Yeah.
Okay, so you played the clarinet and you played the flute? Just the clarinet and the piano?
And the piano, yeah.
When did you start? What came first?
Piano.
And when did you start? 6 or 7?
I want to say I don't know exactly, probably around 7 is when I started piano.
That's why I said 6 or 7.
Yeah, piano's one of those things that's tricky with me to remember because I started piano lessons and then I did all these other instruments. I took a break from piano for a while.
Okay.
And then I circled back to it.
See what I mean? But you're playing it now.
Yes. So.
And the clarinet?
And so I think I started clarinet 4th or 5th grade band in school. I played that through 9th grade.
Okay.
And then I started, in high school I started to whittle down. So clarinet went first.
No, it did. I'm not doing this anymore. Okay, so if clarinet went first,
yeah.
So your favorite instrument must be the piano.
Piano is
It's your passion?
Piano is one of those things that I truly play for myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep, it's your passion. If you play for yourself, it's your passion. Really?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself just playing just for the heck of it?
Yeah. I mean, I truly enjoy the feeling of playing piano.
The keys.
Right? Just the keys, the motion. Voice, we speak all the time, right? So we're very used to speaking and the feeling of speaking and singing. They're similar. But the piano is just
you have to feel the keys.
All feel,
Yes.
And feel is one of those things that actually I've kind of pulled out as a word that kind of relates to a lot of different things.
Okay.
Feel is very important.
Actually, it is. You're very true. Very right on that subject. Feel is very important because if you lose your other senses, you still have your hands and you can still feel. But if you lose your sight and your hearing and your voice, you still have your hands to feel. That's very true.
Feeling is kind of beyond even beyond your hands.
Because it is. Because it goes through your body.
Exactly. And that body reaction. I mean, body reaction is that for me has always been exactly even when I'm writing something, if it does not feel right, it doesn't go. It doesn't happen. It doesn't.
I believe you. I can see you now. Yep, we're not doing that.
No.
Not today. It's not getting in there.
Nope. So feel is really important.
What do you want to see for you musically? I think I probably asked this in another way. See, I knew I did. In the future, I mean, I should actually say this. what do you want to see through your teachings of young people? Where do you want to see them going musically forward?
I mean, I want to see a world is that this doesn't, I don't feel that this exists right now.
Okay.
A world where you have all of these composers who are not doing the same thing. They're all doing very different things. There is not hierarchy. They are all connecting with each other and learning from each other.
Yes.
And all feeling that all of their gifts are equal, right? Because what was given to me in terms of composition and when I'm finding my own voice is that this voice that is writing classical music is superior to this voice that is writing pop music.
Okay.
And the longer I had those separate, the further I got away from my voice.
Okay.
And so
I can hear that.
Yeah, I would like to see artists that are, and hopefully any artist that comes through me realizes that any music they make is valid, any creative impulses that they have are valid, and it not only can it be one or the other, it can be all.
All. Coming together. Connection.
Yep.
I hear that. I like that. I like the way you put that. Coming together and connection. Yeah. So that's what you want to see happen.
Yeah. And
So you're hoping that will go through the young people that you're teaching? You're hoping that they can begin to feel that?
yeah, I mean, especially musicians, a lot of
We're all
musicians
gifted.
are so talented and almost taught to, often taught that the person next to you is your competition.
See? And that shouldn't be.
That's the opposite of connection.
Connection, yes it is. Competition, connection, no.
Yeah.
It should always be the connection. I agree.
And we've seen many great collaborations in the world, right? Can you imagine the more people collaborate with each other, what is possible?
What could, thank you. Thank you.
Right?
I agree. We're not running out of time, but I wanted to see your thoughts on the world musically. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Just on music.
Just whatever comes into your head. What do you think musically from the world? Because we talked about social justice, but also justice totally, but using music as that justice. What do you think?
I think we, kind of speaking to almost what we were just speaking about, I think we're in a time where you can access lots of different, the same way you can access, hundreds of thousands of songs at once.
Right.
You can access cultures, you can access ideas all at once, that interconnectivity of the world is a really cool and almost like a crazy thing to have at your fingertips.
Yes.
And I think what I'm noticing and what I'm seeing is that people are creating these things that are these fusions of so many different cultures that you don't even have to know about that culture to borrow ideas from. Yes. Which can be a
little bit,
on the side of sometimes we that can be not the right thing to do. You definitely want to research. But you find that the musical ideas that are coming into you, it's harder to trace what is happening. What is happening? What are your inspirations? Right? You consciously what conscious things you listen to, but the unconscious, the subconscious things that happen.
Yeah.
it's harder to trace, and
It
it's
is.
creating this. I'm very excited to see what is next for music, because I just see so many different webs coming out of that.
Okay.
And
I like that word, different webs coming out.
yeah, and I think that relates to kind of the world right now too, right? That we are so interconnected. I think we have a lot to learn from each other. Same thing you were talking about with just earlier about, seeing even just different Black females from across the country, from different
Yes.
countries.
Come from different countries.
Learning.
I'm like, wow. I never knew, until I sat and watched this, these 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I've learned, and since you're part of them, I've learned so much from just being with Castles of Our Skins and I try to keep up with them as much as possible, but I like to tell them, y'all can't go out the country or out the state. I can't reach you there. But I've learned so much about Black composition and Black composers, and the fact that there are Black compositions and composers that go way back to like the 16th and the 17th century.
Yeah.
I never knew there were Black composers, period.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you got movies actually being made
About, yes. Yes.
right?
Chevalier.
Yep.
Yeah.
That movie's coming out.
I think it's out.
Oh, it's out?
I
Okay,
think it's
missed
out
that.
already. Either that or they just got it out on Amazon, because not Amazon, yeah, Amazon Prime, because that's where I've been seeing it advertised.
Yeah.
And I never knew the Chevalier was even Black. Okay,
Yeah.
had no idea. I knew the name, I knew the history behind him, but I never knew that the man was Black.
Yeah. I mean, it takes people who are dedicated to
The
uncovering that
the
and
research
researching
and the exploration, yep.
to find out. And if you are not, if you are not, at an arm's length next to one of those people,
You'd never know.
never know.
That's true, you'd never know.
And it's important. It's so important to, which is why I adore Ashley. I adore Castle of Our Skins,
Oh, yeah.
Anthony, like
Oh, yeah.
all of them, everyone, for what they've given me, just in not only like the immediate community of being part of Castle of Our Skins, but of learning from what they've learned.
They've learned. Oh, like I never realized until I met Ashley, I had no idea that there was an institute in Detroit that housed all kinds of Black music. Hip hop, jazz, orchestral music. I had no idea.
Yeah.
All Black music. I never knew there was such a place ever until I met Ashley.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I'll tell you, we're going to breathe for a minute,
Okay.
and then we're going to come back. So everyone, everybody, we can breathe, and we're going to wait and we're going to take a break.
All right.
We are back to Artists of Color. I am Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host. And I want to first thank my amazing guest, who has been so helpful, talking about how wonderful she loves her work and how she's teaching and giving life, the life of music to young people. And I think that that is the greatest thing there is to do. I really do. You are like, I don't know, Joi. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in your future. I mean, do you intend to travel? We're going to be wrapping up shortly, but I want to know, are you intending to travel? Like summer's coming, spring's kind of here. Are you intending to travel to seek more knowledge and to be able to do other things?
You know, that is something I want to do for sure. You know, making it happen, you know, is a different thing.
And I understand. So what are your plans for the summer then?
I think this summer is more actually really for me just getting more in depth into the things that I'm already doing. Okay. And a lot of that is with, you know, more focusing, you know, still focusing on writing, but focusing a lot on curriculum. And a lot of the things I was talking about in terms of teaching composition. I want the ideas, I have a lot of ideas and a lot of passion around it, and now I want it to be realized. So I'm very excited to work on that curriculum and bring that into schools as well.
Well, we're going to come back. I'm going to have you back. Joi Harper, thank you for being with me today.
Thank you.
And to my audience, thank you for joining us here today on Artists of Color. We've had an amazing conversation, and if you were with us, then you had a great conversation with us because it was so informative. And I am just delighted. Like I told you, she was phenomenal, and she is. Thank you again, Joi, for being with me today.
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good time. See you guys on the 26th of May.